Is this? I was just doing the motion.
Hey, welcome everyone in the audience and those online on YouTube. Today is March
packet.
18th. This is our weekly county commissioner meeting. At this time, I please ask everyone to rise and follow me in the pledge.
Oh, yeah.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Yeah. Yeah, I got
Thanks,
it.
everyone. Everyone had a chance to look at the agenda. There's no additions or corrections. I'd entertain a motion to approve.
Make a motion to approve the agenda.
Second.
Moved and second, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. We're going to get right into our agenda. These are all action items. The meeting minutes of March 11th.
I'll make a motion that we accept the meeting minutes, March 11th. I didn't see anything.
Second.
Yeah, they look good to me. We got a motion and second, all in favor, please say aye.
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 Aye, motion carries. The next agenda item is to renominate Mr. Phil Davis as a director from Valley County to the District 2 Animal Damage Control.
So, Eld, is this something that I haven't done it in the 4 years I'm here? So how often do we renominate people?
Can you explain what that is?
It's for the wolf depredation fund, and the county throws in, what is it, Doug, 5,500?
Yes.
Towards that fund that goes to a state level agency, and Phil is on that board if we reappoint him, that at the end of the year, all the cattle losses, sheep losses from wolves is summed up, and then each guy is supposed to get it,
Get a
Out of
stipend
that
from
fund.
it. Okay.
to keep those guys in business. And then they also use it for trapping and helicopter expenses and that kind of deal.
Do you know if this is a reappointment? And this is the Idaho Wool Growers Association doing this for the nomination. I guess
You
I
know,
just
I don't know, is it a three-year
appointment?
Three-year term?
I believe it's a
I-
4-year, but
Must be 4 year, because I've never
Maybe
done
it's
it
a four-year
before.
term. But this would be, and Phil's had a lot of experience with wolf depredation on his ranch.
And he's wanting this appointment.
And no one else has really stepped up to want to take it on, so.
And then I would renominate Mr. Phil Davis as director for the Valley County District 2 Animal Damage Control Board.
Second.
Moved to second, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. Okay, the
Aye.
next agenda item is also an action item. This is to sign the Department of Ag letter of support for creation of waterways check station.
I didn't hear back from you two on whether you wanted
It looked
anything
great.
changed, so
Sorry.
this is the letter that's been presented if you want
Mm-hmm.
anything different.
No, I read it.
But
Oh, I
Doug,
think that looks just fine.
That
did you get
works.
somebody to print that on letterhead, or will you? Then, Mr. Chairman, I would move that we sign the Idaho Department of Ag letter to support the creation of waterways check stations.
Second.
Moved and seconded, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. And what'll probably happen is they'll come back and ask for some help funding it, but we can discuss that when it comes.
Waterways Committee might be able to do that with some of their funding they have.
Yeah.
So. I have a entire list for the ITD conversation today. If there's anything you guys want to add, I guess we can just do it during the meeting. Didn't really ask for anything up front, but
For ITD?
yeah,
Okay.
we're here at 11 or an hour long.
So I thought I saw John and Dorina coming in, but they're not here yet. Maybe they're walking around. So our next agenda item is not an action item. This is an update from Valley Soil and Water Conservation District. So, and that's for 9:15. So Doug, if you'll mute us, we'll see everyone back here at 9:15.
I don't know where that's at.
Unmuted, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, welcome back. We're at our 9:15 agenda item. This is not an action item. Valley Soil and Water Conservation District update. Dorina, John, please come to the mic. Good to see you guys.
Thank you.
And other district projects.
Are we gonna need the screen at all?
No. They approach just.
Yeah,
just
sure.
on a list of
Sure,
the
sure.
things we hoping to go over.
Thank you.
I don't have that. I do not have that.
What's that? As we talk, okay, good.
We have an extra one, Dorina, do you need it? It'd be your talking points.
So good to see you guys. Welcome.
Thanks for having us. Good to be here. I feel like we have a lot of things happening that we want to make sure that we're all in line with what you think we're doing. So, we've been working, I don't have a map for you today, but we've been working with the NRCS on creating a soils map that are of ag importance. We do have a table from NRCS if you're interested in looking at that.
So,
lists-
Dorina, what is NRCS?
Natural Resource Conservation Service, the old SCS. Kind of deals with private lands and helping private owners with water quality, soils issues, forestry.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
So- And they have, I think, about 1.9 million in landowner grants right now within Valley County, so
Nice.
ag grants. So they're working on Lake Irrigation District with that big project of converting the open ditch to a culvert. So they have a lot of projects going on currently. The I don't have it. Yeah, so we're working on the maps. They come off of,
And Dorina, I thought the SCS had a soils map at one time for the
that's
whole
what we're
county.
working on. It's not,
It's
and I
not,
did just send all of you the link to the map, the web soil
For
survey
the
that
soil?
shows this data. But it's, I like
Oh,
to
I-
think that we can navigate it, but you can keep that.
Okay.
And then this is the soils listed for,
didn't want to look at that.
Got it on my email. So Dorina, are you guys having this printed? This would be a great,
yes, tool for you. Yes, I couldn't get a screenshot of that, and so we're working on getting that, and we'll get that to you as soon as possible.
okay, that'd be great.
So
If we
this
need
is
to, I'm
another-
having Jeremy print some maps right now. We could have this one printed at the same time maybe and
Maybe,
on the wall.
okay. I don't know if he has the ability to access the web link, but we'll get it in a format where he could just print it like a PDF. But that's similar to, is that of interest to you, that this map that I just passed down, that has the 3 soil types?
It's on my,
Okay,
on my email, yes.
okay. And then there's one that's even more detailed, that I think will be even more useful. So we just wanted to, I guess we wanted to make sure that we're on the right track with what would help.
So if you would tell me though, so Roseberry, Donnell, and Archibald, are those all irrigation districts?
No, those are soil types.
Soil, oh,
Here, this will
I'm gonna
explain.
learn something new
There's
today.
Archibald, there's a guest run, there's, what is it, Donley South or something like that?
Is this maybe,
But I thought,
They usually try to name soil types with the local area, landform or something that-
When you're saying soil types, like
soil types. Yeah.
as more sand, more clay, more whatever.
Depending on what their makeup is.
So all of those soils are soils of local importance and state importance for agriculture.
And I could have swore I've seen a map in the way, way, way back on the district days of each farm. You could go to your farm and find
Correct.
out where your best and worst
Jack, were you
soil is.
walking by the-
That is correct.
Can you
Yeah.
email
You
that
still
to
have
me?
that?
Not that we can
Hmm.
find.
We can generate
I'll
that
send
through
to
this.
us electronically
Web
so
soil
we can
survey,
look
Link
at that.
so-
to it. I think if I think I still have all my stuff.
I'm gonna have Doug email that to us so that we have it electronically. We can save it.
That map?
The descriptions that you gave.
Oh, okay, okay. I could also, sorry, email that to you also.
I don't do paper. We have to have it electronically or it doesn't stay in my possession.
So that we're working on. So when we realize there's some urgency with that, so that is what we're doing right now.
So Adriana, will this map be something, I'm in as far as I can go and it really doesn't, I mean, it's colors on the map, but I can't see the underlying properties. I can't see any kind of, exactly where
Right.
the land designations are for this. Is that something that will be more detailed or how do
Yes.
we get to that?
Yes, you can keep zooming in on that.
Okay, I'm zoomed in as far as I can on this map and it's still just,
Okay, I think she
Not
just
very
said some
large.
screenshots,
It's
so
no different
we'll
than the
work on
picture.
that. It'll
Okay.
be this week, you'll have something.
Perfect.
Then John's gonna handle number 2.
We just wanted to reaffirm, planning and zoning comments are usually due Wednesday, whatever it is that before. And the board doesn't meet until Thursday morning. And we just wanted to make sure if we have any comments on any of the actions, P and Z, that we get our board letter put together, we'll vote on it. We can submit it that morning.
so you meet the first Thursday of the
We
month.
meet the first Thursday and the comments are usually due the first Wednesday, that afternoon, late afternoon.
So do you have this like a month ahead of future P and Z apps? So you get
We-
that information early enough? that you
We
can-
get that early enough.
Okay.
It's just a matter of us putting together, if we got any comments, putting it together and then voting on it, if we wanted to submit anything in that, so.
Well, P and Z doesn't meet until the second Thursday. So Cindy, what's your deadline? A week
The
before?
Wednesday before, so we get it into the staff report.
Okay.
A week before.
What we do with Valley Soil Water Conservation District letters is just put them into the packet, because we don't deliver the packet till Friday.
There was a request, I guess, by the board to have those in the staff report.
Yeah, I think that
So
was
you're making it, I'm sorry.
kind of our goal was you guys look at the drainage, the irrigation, all the conveyance, stormwater retention, all that kind of stuff.
If we have any comments to that effect, that's what we'd like to, like say, put an official letter together, vote upon it at our board meeting and then submit it to the P and Z, so.
Well, I think what we're gonna start seeing, and we're already seeing some of it now, is developments are trying to store that water on site in a pond. And as you guys know, that's great if it's kind of got fresh water coming through. And otherwise, we end up with a mosquito pond is what we end up with, and then we have other issues. And I sent a picture of one that was up at Coeur d'Alene of a stormwater retention pond that was actually lawn mowed. It was part of a park. And in the summer, it dries up completely and they make it into a park, but in the spring, of course, it fills up. I thought that was a really cool idea because it stores the water, settles it out before it goes on down and hits, in this case, the Coeur d'Alene River. And I think those are the kind of comments I want to see from you guys is if they're going to store all this spring runoff, is it big enough? Is it going to work? Or is it just going to end up being a mosquito pond later on in the summer? Those kind of
Sure.
issues.
And let me just clarify with Cindy again. So you're making an exception every week Just, and including their letter still, just because it's on Thursday.
Yes.
Okay.
All right, that just what we were asking for. Our idea is not to, we're not against growth, we want smart growth.
Yep, we all do.
So now.
We want to mitigate impacts, and that's
Yep.
kind of what Elle's talking
That's right.
about. How do we mitigate impacts
Right.
if we
That's what
can?
we're trying to get the show.
Well, and to me, one of the things I've always looked at is water conveyance. If there's a farmer or landowner down below this development and he brings water in a ditch through this development, that's got to be all part of that permit. How's he going to get his water?
Mhm.
Whether it's piped or underground or what, but that's very important to me. Because that's happening in our end of the valley all the time, so.
Okay. Number 3 was the floodplain development permit. We've had some discussions over the past with, is there, the work we do, like planting willows along the stream, get a grant to plant willows along the stream bank to help stabilize them and stuff like that. We've just been having some discussions between different agencies and Cinda about, is there a permit needed to do this work?
From the county?
In the county, the county has a floodplain development permit that needs to be,
So how's it been working in the past?
A development permit.
So if you wanted to plant willows down in the floodplain, you had to come to the county to get a permit to do that?
Yes,
And how much is that?
$75.
Mhm.
Any development of floodplain needs a floodplain development permit.
So
Like
do-
National Flood Insurance Program.
Do we have an exemption to that permit if it's another agency that's doing the work?
You can
Or is it a
exempt fee.
developer?
That's
What
that's
we're-
nothing I can
yeah.
do.
what we're asking for. We'll submit the permit, but we'd like to request a waiver of the
Of the fee?
fee. So that is all we're looking for on this part of it, so.
And I think that makes reasonable sense to me, because that's just more money you could spend on the ground.
Correct.
But if you're a developer and you're building roads or trails or paths out there, that's a little different story.
And it, if it gets into the real structural part of a floodplain development of, like rock bars or something like that, where you have to get a Corps of Engineers permit and stuff like that, we
Different
You guys
follow
have-
all that.
Just different animal.
That's a different animal, yeah.
John, do you have to have engineering to plant willows and all that? They have to look at that? You can do that.
Typically, we have the Soil Conservation Commission, State Commissioner, engineer, help us design
Okay.
what we need to do, or a lot of times we're working in conjunction with the Fish and Game on these grants and stuff, and they're giving us, advice on where to plant and what to plant and so forth. So that's what like I say, we'll submit the permit. We just want to make sure we don't waive the fee, then that helps us.
How many
Yeah, then-
permits a year do you guys do? 1 or 2? It can't be a
Probably
big,
one or two.
We get conflicting information from IDWR and CINA's requirements when that permit's required is what's kind of happened in the past.
well, they're 2 separate agencies. I mean, the county is the one that's driving that conversation probably,
And
unless
we'll-
we don't have jurisdiction within what IDWR is doing.
Right. That's what we'll.
Where
submit
does
the
our
permit
jurisdiction end at the high water mark? You know?
Within the floodplain.
We have jurisdiction in the floodplain.
County does.
But when does Idaho Water Resource get involved? If it's below the high water mark?
Yes, the ordinary high water mark.
Ordinary high water mark, yeah. That's different than the flood.
Do they charge a permit fee?
I think we get. No, I don't think they do.
I have no problem
I'm
waiving
not
the
sure.
I
$75
think
permit. I'm just
We
gonna,
need to continue on with that
Yeah,
practice.
we can look into that one.
And if you guys ever need willows, I have lots of willows. I'm
Good
serious.
Good idea.
I do.
We'll
I
think
have.
about
There's
that.
some even in the county
Keep
right
that in our
away.
mind.
They'll
Yeah.
charge you $75 for it.
Yeah.
Well,
The road department comes,
$175.
the road department comes by and snags a few every year. and
Oh, I'm sure they
It's
do.
like, wow.
So that's not on our agenda as far as, you know, a decision on that permit. So if you want to put that on an agenda so we can vote on it, but that's not an action item for
could do
today,
that.
so.
So how do
Okay.
you want us to do that? Just contact Doug to get on there?
You know what? Why don't you run it through Cinda? And have her get an agreement up. She'll probably help you write it or whatever, and then she can get it on as an action item. That work, Cinda? Okay.
Thank you.
Number 3 is,
Changed. I
where's
got the
mine?
old one.
Number 4.
This.
Number 4, the fencing.
Yes, number 4, the state ag grant through DEQ opened March 15th, closes April 15th, and we would like to submit a subsequent project for the Willow Springs, the Hot Springs WMA riparian fencing. So the previous grant, we were
You
able
did
to
on the west side there, yeah, yeah.
complete this down here, and we just want to put in for 1 mile along there with the ICC crew.
Is that
So
where the
that's-
wildlife bird area is?
Yes.
Yeah.
All the WMAs are
Yep.
BOR wildlife management areas.
My question is, who maintains that fence? Does the landowner have to maintain that or permit?
BOR.
Oh, really? They have fence crews now?
They used to have,
If you could send us all
Really?
this
they
stuff.
used to have a full-time fence crew maintenance. This is what we accomplished last.
That's kind of nice. I wonder if I could get my fence underneath some of that.
Stonebreaker here, we just want to
Damn.
keep Stonebreaker north for a mile, but this is still everything that's left to do with that WMA.
This isn't something.
And John, or
Get out
isn't
there
there a
and
WMA
ice
in
fishing.
Pine Lakes?
Stonebreaker's right back here.
Yeah, the
There's
fence
a
doesn't-
wildlife
there's a
easement
cut
or
out
something
parking
like
lot.
that?
Wildlife easement, I believe, and I don't, it
Yeah,
might be
just
That
part of
little
this.
parking lot.
little-
was
Yeah,
right
but to
in
look,
here.
mhm.
They were
Little
poured
creek, I'm
into.
not sure.
Just replacing an existing fence.
I
That's
think
what I
the
thought there was
fence
a
that they
fence
put
already
in
there.
It's
went
pretty
from
dilapidated.
basically
Replace it.
Stonebreaker Lane south to the.
You send us
On
all
the
these things
west side of the
back.
railroad track, wasn't it?
And then if we have to vote on it, you're gonna have to put it on as
The
an
old
action
railroad-
item, because we
Well, I
can't
did
vote
go-
on this either.
Okay,
That's
so
on the
let
west
us
side of
act,
the old.
so
old
I'm just
railroad.
taking this opportunity to.
Went from
It is-
Stonebreaker Lane
okay, you
coming
just have
down
to
and
send it as
around
an
and
action
back
item
over
if it's
towards
something you need
the
approval for.
Orange area.
And
We,
the letter of support needs.
That's where they put
Mhm.
that part of
Yep.
it. This
yep,
other
it's
part's
something we
more-
have to sign. We sign something, all 3 of us have to do it, so.
When did the maps go?
On the bottom of this one.
Oh, she took them. Okay.
What's next?
So you want a letter of support to continue that? I'm assuming you will write it up and get it as an action item to us? and-
Yes, yes. Just as an update, this last year and a half, we've completed 4 pivot projects, which were conversions from flood irrigation.
Which areas of the valley were those in?
Boulder Creek and the East Reservoir, so. in here.
So, does that actually put then, I mean, I think the whole purpose of this is to try and put more cold water into the lake. So, since it's not diverting that stream bed, are you guys tracking that to see how much more flow goes into the lake?
All of the pivots have flow meters. The,
The stream that it's, that they were originally irrigating out of, or the irrigation ditch they're originally irrigating out of? Do you have any idea how much capacity then goes
savings
into the?
we do, with our applications, we do load reductions on those. And water savings. Ken might have an idea on that.
Commissioners, usually the savings when you convert to sprinkler irrigation versus flood irrigation is about 45% savings of water. So to answer your question, Commissioner, the diversion that comes out of the river or water source, as more of those acres get converted to sprinkler irrigation, is a smaller diversion. So that allows more water to continue to flow down the natural drain.
Do the pivots all operate off of wells?
No,
They're still coming out of the
they're,
streams?
so generally, they use the same water right that they've had in existence. So, for example, I think all four of those particular ones still use the original water right, which is ditch flow.
Mhm.
There are a few pivots in Valley County that operate on wells, but it's like 2 or 3.
How do you use ditch? So what, you gotta have a water basin to pump out of?
Just
Oh.
create a sump.
Got it.
Big old tank.
Good to know. So in that scenario, because we're just trying to find ways to get colder water into the lake. So in that situation, when you're saying we get 45% savings, but it goes down the ditch, it's actually flowing out of the county then. It's not going into the lake. Is that correct? Is that a correct statement? Or does it go to the lake? That savings of the 45%?
It would go to the lake.
It does, okay.
Wouldn't it be about 45% less going to the lake through evaporation and, you know, soaking into the soil compared to flood irrigation?
Well, it takes a lot more water to sub-irrigate than it does to sprinkle. Probably twice as much water. But where the hit is the guy that's paying the power bill to run that pivot.
Oh, yeah.
I know the pivot like the one at Gardena, the red one that you guys see there, that costs that guy about $5,000 a month in power to run that pivot. Where if that was a ditch system, it wouldn't cost you very much at all. So that's the trade-off that you have to think about as a landowner.
Can you do solar power in some way?
Not enough amperage. You can't,
No.
you'd have to have
That's
ton
three-
of
You have to have a
solar
solar
panels.
farm to run one pivot.
I don't think we're gonna approve one of those.
And it's interesting because I know Power's come out with programs now where if you sprinkle at night, run that pivot at night, you're at a lower rate than if you run it during the day.
Interesting.
So there's a lot of things you can work with.
It's actually a peak load reduction. So during their peak hours, usually between 4 and 9, if you sign up for that program, they'll actually remotely turn off your pump through the communication through the power line. Shuts them off, and then you have to go restart them. And so what you're doing is during the peak time when everybody's running their air conditioner, then you shut off, which generates savings so that they can use it elsewhere.
That makes
Interesting.
sense.
But back to the question about the irrigation and the sprinkler, what happens when you
But
convert
Ken, you
this-
probably should be at a microphone, just in case the newspaper's listening.
So
Hi, Max. Good morning.
Ken Roberts for the record. So generally, when you convert to a sprinkler irrigation, you're only wetting up the soil in the horizon where they call them horizons, the depth of the soil where the roots are. And it keeps your nutrients in that level. Where in flood irrigation, you're running water out over the land and either building the sub level up, or you're actually taking the water and it's like a coffee filter. You're washing the nutrients down past what the roots can actually absorb. And
Interesting.
so there are a lot of advantages to going to sprinkler irrigation, not only water savings, nutrient savings, and also the infiltration of nutrients into the groundwater, which then ultimately end up in the reservoir.
I got very good at siphon tubes. I really wanted Dad to have sprinklers.
So Ken, so if you're doing sprinkler versus flood, whatever's left over, the water still goes back in the ditch and goes onto the lake, but by then it's warmed up. Sprinkler, you have none of that.
If you're irrigating correctly in Valley County, the soil types here should absorb all of the water and you'd have zero runoff.
Mm-hmm.
But you'll have other runoff through storm events and things like that. That's why it's important for like developments, and they're actually required by law to retain their stormwater on site.
Right. Okay, thank you.
So are you on the board now? You're here in support of the board?
No, I'm a concerned citizen, agricultural
You know a lot
citizen.
about all of this, Mr. Roberts.
I understood that they were visiting with you today about agricultural lands in Valley County and what that may mean, and kind of, I'm just curious to know why that discussion's happening, so.
No, I appreciate it.
We've been having it for a little while anyway.
So as another update, the road department finished the Windsor,
Dorina, yes, there you go, thank you.
this is Dorina with Valley Soil and Water. The Windsor Creek culvert has been completed and now they will do the Gibson Creek this fall.
Good.
And we have another 35,000 to contribute towards that project.
That was oversized, right?
Yes, yes, yes.
I thought there was a third one. Was there a third one?
Nope, Poison Creek, Rock Creek needs to be done, but we had to substitute that because there wasn't adequate funds
Okay.
to do that. That looks like it needs to be a joint project or just a larger grant.
So
We are
Dorina,
facing,
on Poison Creek's, yeah, aren't they gonna get pavement this year? I think they're getting paved, so if Poison Creek hasn't been done, we might wanna have that conversation about, finding additional funding some way, cause
Yeah, that's a really good point. We need to talk to Jeff about
I
that.
thought that was part of the program before they actually paved. We've got a developer that's gonna pave that section
I
of.
think replacing the culverts is part of that as well, Sherry, but I'm not sure. I'm gonna write myself a note.
We better ask that one.
Okay,
I'm gonna take these last two. So we just have number 7 on there just so that we keep apprised of any thoughts that are developing as far as the facilities for Valley Soil and Water. I don't know if you've had any more.
You wanna
Thoughts
fight
of-
over this again, Dorina? You wanna bring it up
I
for the
just wanna
next 2
know how
years?
long I have to pack.
We don't know because we don't know what our facilities are gonna
Yeah.
look like yet. We're having a master facility update at 1.
A master facility.
Facility
update?
update at 1.
Oh. Probably listen to that, okay. And,
well, Dorina, I guess I can answer maybe some of that. As you know, we're kind of in process of looking at purchasing the title company building because we're kind of out of space here for a lot of our help. So there may be a big shuffle, but it's gonna be, I'm guessing by maybe fall if we're lucky. Move some of the folks in here over there, which could create space inside this facility. What this board would have to decide is if we want to allow that, because everyone would have to come through security, and but there may be exceptions to some of your employees with the badges to come in the back door, but I think that's a possibility. As you guys know, the Department of Labor has a facility that they were started out here and then ended up over at Chamber of Commerce. So right now they haven't asked to come back, but I think if we have a bad economy and unemployment goes up and there's lines, then they may decide they want to come. So we're kind of looking at making this a multi-use government facility. I think would be a smart move, but there are some issues with this building that we have to work first. Thank you. That's all I can do.
Well, not really. I wasn't there last meeting.
no, just what,
While you guys are talking, I'm really glad to see that we have finally found a definition for prime farmland. I have asked everybody, what's the definition of prime farmland? And no one was able to give it to me. So
What
I
is it?
finally see that, we were trying to go with, we've got irrigation,
just shows
I have the
state.
state,
there's a
yeah,
whole-
I have a,
whole deal there on prime farmland.
yeah,
This
We finally have
discussion.
yeah,
definition.
well, I missed it. Anyway, I do have the state, list of soils of statewide.
I already have that.
Oh, they got that?
I'm just
Okay.
looking for the printed map.
No, I don't have the printed map. I
Makes
don't have
sense.
that capability at home to.
lot of the counties need this for a resource management.
Art, do you
plans.
know, is there a, or is that coming though? To where a landowner could buy a piece of ground and get online and look at your map, say this is prime egg land or not, or whatever soil type it is?
That is quite available through the NRCS.
That's what I thought.
Web Soil Survey.
That is
It's-
the worst website ever.
It is really hard. I can get on it. I cannot use my iPad to get on it and do anything.
No.
I mean, I can get on it, but then it just jams up because it's so much information. But my,
It's
older
not user.
real computer can deal with it, usually.
Well, my computer can deal with it, but it is not user-friendly in any way, shape, or form. I mean, it needs an entire training to figure out their
Well,
map.
I actually have a list of, they do have a list, and if you go through the list, it works. But there are a lot of shortcuts actually once you start doing it. And I've only spent a couple days at it, and I'm a total rookie. I think John's probably a lot better at it.
If I had a couple of days, Art, it would be
Talk to
great, but
him. But yeah, it takes time. It's very frustrating.
So
that'd be
NRCS
great
did
training at
offer-
some point.
They did offer to do some training, so I'm wondering if you want to designate a
I
county
asked
person to
and-
sit in on that.
I asked and they never got back to me. So,
Well, part of this process, she sent us the link and said she would schedule some on-the-job training.
it'd be
So
great.
that-
I'd love to participate in any training.
You know, I
I'd
wonder if
like-
we could put that on, would it be possible to put that on the county's link from the county website? Would that make it easier?
It would, but I'm telling you that it is, the website itself is extremely
hard to
difficult.
know.
I mean, you've got
Maybe-
to have training on how to use their layers because it's not easy.
It's not the most modern.
That's a good way to
It's
put it.
comprehensive.
Yeah, it's quite,
I'm fairly intuitive when it comes to that kind of stuff, and I have spent a long time trying to figure it out. But, so I would love to have any training. I'm happy to share that with anyone else then.
So would you want to include someone through GIS or through?
I don't, tell us when the training is, we'll figure out who that needs to go and
Sounds good.
try and figure out, we can get a few people there maybe.
the soil map, though it doesn't have quite as much information, is actually just a map and a book. It's pretty easy to use after a while. But it doesn't have the depth of the information. Plus, it's 40 years old, so. So as far as watershed workshop, we'll be having one on April 25th. And topics are, I'm gonna have a little talk, very short one on the watershed history, and then go through current projects, areas of concern, pressures on the watershed, and cost share solutions to some of those. So it's
Do you know
just the
what time
beginning.
yet and where?
Pardon? April 25th at 4 to 6 p.m. at the Donley Bible Church. Yeah.
And Art, did you get my invite for the IDL meeting this Thursday?
For which?
The IDL meeting?
I
sent-
haven't seen it yet, but
Okay, I
when-
sent you a meeting invite as well as a email. We have 18 individuals representing all different agencies, all different community groups that will be discussing preservation of the IDL lands. And
oh,
by trying to come up with a plan that we can submit. It kind of accomplishes our goals, so the
Yeah.
watershed.
well,
This is the same information, just a different format.
Yeah. And those would be some electronic.
So Art, if you're not the one that should be attending, if you want Dorena to come if she has time, or it's at 11 o'clock at my office in McCall. Well, it's not my office, it's my son's office, but he's allowing me to use it.
they're by the,
Right back of my father's place
yeah,
restaurant.
yeah.
I have a small office in the back of his.
At Maupin Homes.
Yep.
I just saw that. I've been in that parking lot forever and
my
noticed
son,
that it was
my
there.
son rented it a couple years ago. And we'll serve lunch.
Oh, wow. Okay,
Oh, you
Yeah,
can
well-
serve lunch.
see who wants to go to that.
Yes.
Probably be available. So they already got- Guess we're done.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it. Oh, man. Okay, our next agenda item is an action item, but I think we're gonna have to postpone this one. This is a discussion decision on the environmental consulting contract. Is there anyone in the audience that knows anything about this?
Yes, well, I do.
So I think this is for Mary Darling, is that correct?
Yes.
Mhm.
And I can't get it to open up,
Well,
so
I did find the email that's got the contracts. If you want to
can you
hold
get
off
the
until this
contract opened
afternoon.
up?
Yeah. Did.
I have it, but I can't get it to open up.
So this, might be a different one. Let me
In our packet.
pull it up again. It came in from Steve Smith.
Yep.
The land use plan.
It came on 3/9 at 7:42, and it's a Word doc and a PDF. Must have had other people couldn't open those docs, because then he sent it as a,
I don't have it.
I don't have it
I
either,
looked for it and I couldn't.
but I do have the one that he sent this morning.
this is the actual contract, so it is a larger conversation on whether we want to hire somebody or if we want somebody to do this work from in-house.
Right?
So she's got, basically, it's $50 an hour, and it would cover her time. It's a renewable contract annually, and she just works on our behalf on Forest Service issues, but also endangered species issues. So I think that this is gonna have to be a larger conversation on how we want to drive this conversation out of the county.
So if you could
Is
send us
this-
that contract,
I will forward it right now.
and then let's postpone this until next week. So we have a chance to look at the contract.
Not here next week, Dalt, so do you wanna
Oh, that's right.
go April 1st?
That's right. I forgot about that. Sure, 1st of April.
So are we
Go
splitting,
this afternoon too, at the end of the day, we're done at 3:30, but
so are we splitting this cost with Custer County?
it's multiple counties. They're putting it out for, I think there's 5 or 6 counties that have participated. Mannix on there, Bear Lake's on there. I mean, pretty much any of the counties that actually are
the s-
dealing with this issue.
Center part of the lake or the state here, yep.
Yeah.
Up
She's
in-
dealing with the old growth forest issue, as well as the grizzly bear issue, sage grouse.
I'd
what's the
I'd
other
like
ones?
to know a little bit more about what she brings to the table. Is what I would like to know.
Maybe we should have Larry come in. He went to that meeting on our behalf, and that would be probably a good conversation to have.
And I think Brian needs to look at this contract too.
Yeah.
There's some
Yeah, we wouldn't approve anything. This
alarms
is whether-
already popping up in my head.
Yeah.
Okay, so if you could forward that to Brian too.
And I did just send it to both you guys.
Yeah, I got it. I just briefly read it, but pretty wide open. Okay, so we're gonna move on down our agenda. Let's see, this is an action item, so I'm gonna make the motion. We postpone the environmental consulting contract until April 1st.
Mhm.
Was that a second?
Second,
Who did second? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. Next agenda item is the development agreement for CUP 2335 Dobson Multiple Residences. We have 2 more final plats too. Is that correct, Cinda?
Yes.
Okay,
Jeff, here's your development agreement. Patty Dobson is here.
okay, Good to
She
see
has
you
a
again.
copy. Jeff has a copy. Oki's approved it. This was our, our
Didn't we
first one
already-
in this, using this template form.
Didn't we already approve it? I mean, basically.
We did approve what was going to happen.
Okay.
But now we've put it into a document. And so we'll need signatures, notaries for both you and
Right.
Patty.
And Patricia, you're good with all this?
Yeah, I think we. to a
We
fair
agreed
agreement.
on it. We already issued your building permit based on this, if I remember right.
Yes, yes.
And so I
Okay.
read it, I didn't see any problems with it. So, Mr. Chairman, I would move that we approve the development agreement for CUP 23-35, Dobson Multiple Residence.
I'll second that.
Moved and seconded, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries, and all three of us sign this. You have it in hard copy,
Okay.
Cinda?
I do.
I do have a check today. So this is it, the final of
You have a notary
the
check or
occupancy and, do I get an address?
I texted Gabby.
Cinda will
Should've
give you an
gotten that with your
address, I
building
think.
permit.
Address,
The house.
you have an address. There
Should've-
wasn't one on the building permit? Really, I'll have to look.
They normally
Is
do
this
that at building
notarized, you
permit,
said?
so
Yes.
sorry about
And
that.
She needs to sign it. You guys need to sign it.
Usually they won't do nothing without an address.
And did somebody call for a notary?
I did.
Thanks, Doug, for doing that. So we'll wait for the notary and then we can move on.
You want to do Patty Summit first?
Does that
Uh,
need a notary also?
Yes.
We may as well do both at once.
The other one too.
and sand 55, that's a final plat too, so. Yeah, I guess we could move on while we're waiting for the notary to show up. We'll move on down to the Patty Summit subdivision final plat.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, this one also includes a development agreement that, and he had met with you previously. That is actually under the old format of development agreement. Because he had met with you much earlier than Patty did.
And on this one, we are just receiving the easements on that road. We're actually getting a deed on those roads, correct?
Yes, Jim has the deed. May I get the deed, Jim?
10.09 is the total of the two.
It, and to fill in the blank here on your motion, it's 10.09 acres giving.
We have a patty flat in our packet here.
That's the right of way acres?
It's supposed to be in here?
That's the one that we had to ask for permissions to get into. Is it the link on the bottom?
Oh, okay, there it
We're not-
is.
You were not able to get into it without asking for that link, so.
And then also
Need to
part of
see
this
something.
is, since there was no engineering required, because there weren't any roads or anything
Access
like that,
required.
we had already taken the $1,000
Interesting.
engineering deposit, so he will be getting a refund after we subtract surveying fees and final plat fees of $487.
So his refund will be 5,
$487.
oh,
If you can make that part of your motion also. Do you want the paper copy?
yes, please.
So you said 10.09 acres?
Yeah.
It was an interesting one. It was large enough and we got a link and it was difficult to open, so.
Yeah, mine access denied. I didn't know how to get by it.
You want us to
You
sign
have
it all
to
first
ask
and then
for
you
access,
notarize
so
it?
next time when you see that, you gotta ask
All
for
three of us
access
have
on
to
it,
sign
but I'm trying to find mine. I hope mine didn't close out, cause I had a reset.
Figure out who gets to
Sherry.
make that motion.
That's the first one.
Oh, you need to sign 24 though, it's not 23.
Oh, gosh, I've been doing that lately, geez. Darn it. I wanna go back.
Where did it just go?
You know what else problem is? He's going on vacation. He's checking out already.
Got a lot of problems in that. That looks good.
It's getting hot in here. Turn the air conditioning on.
Go turn, have Faye turn that down. You turn that knob, put it on about 68.
You got a
Oh, really?
witness?
Yes, I do.
65
Sorry,
would
I
be
did
good.
not know that there was.
Maybe we need to, we probably have to turn it down up here then.
Then can you hang for the other two final
Um,
flats? Okay.
I'm still concerned. I'm not gonna lie. I don't like the subdivision on Patty Flat. It's in the Wooey.
Here's for
You're lucky
Patricia
you
to
didn't come
sign.
up here, cause I don't like the
And you
subdivision.
got to notarize her
I
signature.
wanna make
too.
sure you maintain your
Here's a
fire,
pen. Send it, or you got a
perimeter.
pen?
They're gonna have a tough time
and that's
with
gonna
that
be,
one.
This is the development agreement.
you
for
gotta
Patty
keep the
Flat.
fire out of there. It's burnt up there
Ms.
so
Thompson,
many
we're
times.
also
You're
gonna need
gonna
your ID.
burn
Okay.
somebody down.
The road is
The
so
road's
rough
horrible.
to go in there. Terrible rough road.
This one's not my favorite.
We used to hunt back. We won't even drive
did.
back.
My
We signed
sister
this
used
one
to
too?
own one of the lots back there. and
I do.
that's where- yeah.
So I
Not
need
that
a
it's a
motion then to
terrible road,
approve
but
this
it's just-
development agreement.
It's burning
Yeah,
back in
that's.
there.
That's all part of the
that's
next,
plat.
okay, well, let's get this one done first.
Okay.
And then we'll take the
Then
motion
that's
for
next
Patty,
one.
Patty Summit.
Yes.
Lucinda, did we do, I'm trying to think, is there some culverts that are being replaced on Patty
Yeah,
Flat
3
as
of
part
them.
of this also?
Yes.
You guys did replace 3 culverts? I
They're
remember
going
right.
to.
Okay,
I'll ask Jeff to talk
Here.
about that.
so Jeff, are you doing that? Is Jim doing that? How are we doing that?
Jim's gonna hire a contractor to line 3 big culverts on Stoughton Creek down the
Oh, you might want to give that to Cinda. I don't have the rest of it.
Which one is that?
That's for the first one, for Dobson.
For Dobson?
What they're doing too is part of that.
Dobson's agreement.
Okay. She signs the one with Patricia on it.
Yeah, this one, I think this one goes with this one, is it?
Yep.
And have you had any other applications for Patty Flat? Because this is where all that DF ground's for sale, isn't it? This was one of the original DF parcels.
It was originally DF. No, there are no other applications up there. They still own a lot of property up there.
And they're still trying to sell it, so I don't know if there's a way that we can flag buyers that they're gonna have to do something with Patty Flat Road if they want to develop back in there. That's,
Anybody that comes in and applies for a subdivision knows that they have to do something. Proportional share.
Carrie, you
No, but you're.
Cloth, concrete cloth. Never seen that before.
line the inside of a culvert?
Yeah, 3 of them.
The highway did that, state highway did that. You should go, it's an interesting process.
The whole,
Run a piece
whole
of
thing.
plastic in that's about that
Okay.
much space.
Can you
around
stick
it.
around?
Mhm.
Is that my pen?
They just pump that space.
Oh, look at that, there's a same.
Well, that's a slick way of doing
Turn
that.
one in, pull it back,
Okay, I think that-
fills it right up.
so we'll go just,
Interesting.
get
That way they don't have to dig the whole thing up.
check everything.
so is this,
Done?
Yeah.
Oh, I
is
need
this
my
one surrounded by state on 2 sides? Do you have state on 2 sides of you?
There's state on the east side, and, there's a section of state,
That's
in the
for-
north and south sections of.
Is it IDL?
Okay, now we're ready to move on.
If you can give it to Robin.
Is it
she can
endowment lands
record
or?
it. And then we
Is it
can bring
endowment
it back
lands?
up.
You know, or
Let's-
is
let's
it?
get
Thank you.
through all this first. and then-
Yeah, she's got more notary to do here shortly. So we're gonna move on now to the Pat Summit subdivision final plat. Sherry, you have the motion?
I do. I move to approve the final plat for Patty Summit subdivision, approve the development agreement, acknowledge the sanitary restrictions are not satisfied and building permits will not be issued until the sanitary restrictions are lifted. Acknowledge the driveway easement for lot 13 over lot 11 that will be recorded. Acknowledge the declaration of installation of utilities recorded as note 19 on sheet 3 of the plat. Acknowledge the CCNRs. Acknowledge the wildland urban interface fire protection plan. Accept the 10.09 acres of deeded right-of-way for Patty Flat Road and authorize the chairman to sign the development agreement deed and acceptance of public right-of-way in the plat. This motion is made with the understanding that building permits will not be issued until Donley Fire approves the installation of the fire tank, that Patty Flat Road, which travels through this subdivision, is a public road, and that the Valley County Board of Commissioners have the sole discretion to set the level of service for any public road. The level of service can be changed, that there will be a refund of $487. And Cindy, as part of this motion, do we need to state that until the road culverts have been improved, that we will not issue building permits?
Jeff, do you know what the timetable is?
I was hoping, talking to Jim, hoping to get those culverts done this summer.
I don't think that it's so necessary that we would
Yes,
not
so-
issue a building permit.
Who's going to watch that those happen in a timely fashion?
Either Jim or his contractor will be in touch with me, letting me know when they're gonna start. It's gotta be during low water time or, probably gonna be after July probably.
You
So Should
you
we-
can put that in your motion that building permits will not be issued until the road development agreement is
completed,
completed.
or, within 1 year, so that it gives him this summer to get the
No, I
work
would tie
done.
it to the building permits.
That's our only hammer.
That's our only hammer.
Okay, then I would add that no building permits will be issued until the road development agreement has been completed.
Second.
Got a motion and a second to approve the Patty Summit subdivision final plat with the development agreement attached. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries.
Please, please, please. Wildland, the fire mitigation is gonna be key and critical to make that a successful area back there.
There's a, I believe it's in the CCNR, prohibition on summer fires. I mean, I'm very aware that camping has been a major source of ignition. And working with contractors out there, I've been there myself, burned at least 100 cords of brush and lawn debris. Been burning there for 3 years, trying to mitigate the
But that will have to be done every 5 years probably, so make sure your HOA is fully enforcing your,
tough puzzle all over the place and trying to do what's possible. You see in the conditions, no further subdivision on the 200 acres, very restricted building envelope, no one's possible.
I appreciate that.
Been approved, I can just say by way of conversation, the people that have been interested in the lots are interested in camping, not immediately building. We have,
It just gives me more pause, to be honest with you, because
Yeah.
every time you leave a campsite, unless they dump water on that fire, it's warm for a whole day. And so, they're not going to be inside of a building that they're gonna be concerned with and mitigating that, so.
She knew it needed to
It will be their ground that
Yeah.
gets incinerated, so I hope that
Okay,
there's.
there's
And
that.
theirs and all their neighbors and most of the people back there, so just please
Stick
make sure
around.
that your HOA is in place and mitigating for fire.
It wasn't a requirement, but I purchased a 500-gallon tank truck with a pump on it. Talked with the fire company, and they've got a long response time. We're not relying on them for, taking care of those issues. So, trying to be fast.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, the final one on this action item is the Sand 55 subdivision final plat. You got the information there, Cinda?
I do have information. There is a development agreement with this, not because of off-site road improvements, but it was a way for us to document the things that they're doing within the subdivision. Because typically we have our conditions of approval. There were some things, financial guarantees, that type of thing that we wanted in the development agreement.
You have the motion there.
We got it. Here,
You got it?
Everyone's
Okay.
got it.
So Cinda,
And cross out the last one. And that the plat will be recorded until a final letter of approval is received from Lake Irrigation District.
Scratch that out.
We have received that one.
Okay.
And they still have to, I mean, McCall Fire is pretty sure, but they have to plow the snow so they can do their water test. The tank's in,
Okay.
they're plowing so that they can get in there and test it.
my largest concern on this one, well, first of all, I never did see the easement document, and I may have missed it because this is 88 pages, but for the 13889 Highway 55, it looks like they crossed their property on the very north, on the long line. There's a couple of pieces here that I just, without pulling them up
The map
on the
was
line.
really weird. I looked at that too, and I was trying
There's
to.
definitely another easement driveway on that to get to the property at the back. So there is an easement on that thing with a recorded deed for that easement.
On page 2 of 3, they show easements
Can't open this one up.
on that long strip. They're not gonna do anything with that strip.
But
There's
there's,
a 20-foot wide lake irrigation easement, and there's an access agreement
go
that's 70 feet wide.
Down if you want to see.
okay, and that goes to the parcel
That's
in
the
the,
final motion.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a little piece of ground he was buying from Ned, ASAP. He was trying to buy. I don't know if he ever got that completed, but it was to give him access off the highway to come through there. So
Oh, that's a different subdivision.
it's a
McCall
different
Landing.
subdivision.
This is Sands 55. I know, it's confusing. We got them at the same time,
Yeah.
and it's Jeremy Sands, but this is not his subdivision.
Oh, it's
oh, you're
not.
No,
kidding
his
me.
is McCall Landing.
That's from
It was
confused.
very confusing until you got it straight in your mind.
Okay.
This is the one just north of the FedEx building.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Well, that's that, where they're doing the waterways. One just north of FedEx is that Prestige Water Sports or something.
Yes, and they're burying
Oh,
yeah.
I'm totally confused
Yeah.
then.
this is
Oh,
that piece.
Okay. Okay.
so then, okay, so my question then remains, because there is a home site right behind that.
There's an easement on page 2 of 3.
Okay, so that is for that piece, because there's two really strange shaped lots right there.
Right, and if you go to the assessor's plat, they'll show any easement there, because this easement leads to that, and then there's another easement that goes to the piece further south,
Mhm.
but not on this property. This property shows all the easements that have been recorded.
Okay.
This plat does.
That's why I was having trouble looking at
Yeah,
that.
so it's very confusing.
It was confusing.
Oh, it is. Yeah, I was totally on a different piece. In my mind, anyway.
There, you guys good?
No, I want to make sure.
Okay.
And then the other thing was the landscaping piece.
That's,
So as you know, that's near and dear to my heart. And
that was in the development agreement, and that's why we had them do the development agreement.
so what are we requesting to see what types or, what the volume is on that landscaping? Because I was having a hard time trying to figure it out with the information that I had, how much we're requiring on a scenic byway.
We're just gonna put a bunch of boats
So-
out there.
Bunch of what?
Put a bunch of boats along the highway.
Yeah, that's
And
exactly my
Nail them to the
concern.
roof.
Okay, Cindy, I still have to look at that with you. This is my concern. Okay, so there's a piece of ground right here, and then there's a house back here.
So you taking camper
Who
over, you
owns
just
these
kinda
properties?
renting a place over
All
there,
of them are, that's what I'm trying to.
like you
get
did
on.
last time.
Can't get it right now, so
$1,000 a night.
all of these are owned by the
That's a-
same people?
I believe these are, and I believe there's a cross easement that goes to the
It'll
other
hold-
house back there.
5 bedroom, 6 bedroom.
I couldn't see those in our document.
Pretty good size
They
place.
show all
Yeah.
easements across their property.
Don't go getting
So-
sick this time.
This easement goes to the
You know,
access
you never know
easements.
what's gonna go on vacation.
Also,
Let me,
Remember last time you said you were sick for 3 days? It was like,
Get on the
this
computer.
sucks.
I've got it up
I'm
here.
taking all my medicine.
I'll do it on mine.
No, it is.
Doug, will you turn that on, please?
hey, Lenny. Just said, hey. He's representing the subdivision.
You gonna put it up?
Yeah, what's on my screen? Okay.
Got it? Next up.
So there is a parcel right here. So this easement off the highway is the access point for this parcel and this parcel on the back.
Go to the GIS map.
Our county GIS map. Is the address ended, you know?
No, let's go to Lake Fork. Let's go to Lake Fork.
Okay, Rogers. So it's this piece.
Scroll in there.
Yeah.
It's
So
this
the-
right here. So this piece,
By Karen Hance, go to the left. Same person, go to the south. Now, if you go over to the left and click on assessor plat on the left column. And click on Hance fees. And go up to the black bar. Toggle over to the assessor's plat, click on that. If you go over there to the left, you can see those easements.
so here's Gantz that goes around their property.
And it's-
An
there's
easement here.
That's the irrigation, that's what's shown.
This is an irrigation easement.
It's on the plat.
So how do they get to this property?
Go back to the aerial. Zoom in.
So that's a butler that has to cross this piece. That's what I'm making sure that there is a recorded easement for him to get to his property. There is a prescriptive easement because it looks like he's been using it for a long time.
It's not even Butler, it's Butler and that other individual.
I would,
Well, this one
I would believe that the whole,
has direct access.
the lines need to be shifted down. That's part of that? Maybe Lenny can answer that.
Well, we purchased the property.
Sir, can you come to the mic? I apologize. And identify yourself. Thank you.
I'm Lenny Nelson, a member of the owners of Sands 55. When we purchased the property, so my understanding is Michelle originally owned that piece out front, and she sold it to the previous owners. And so that was originally her land. I guess I need to confirm that there is a written easement. I mean, that's
Well, and you also have this person, Dustin
Right.
Schumacher and Butler's,
Yeah,
both
and
have
Butler.
to have an easement across your property to get to theirs.
right. So I guess I don't know off the top of my head if there is a written easement there.
Here's a better picture of it. That's that 70-foot access easement.
Which I'm sure there is, but
See, here's that 70-foot access easement out here, and this shows the driveways. Here's the one that goes south, and that's all within that 70 feet.
I understood you to say that was an irrigation easement.
There's a 20-foot irrigation easement also.
So that sliver of land is the easement, is what you're talking. Is that
There's
correct?
70 feet.
Or 70
There's a
feet?
70-foot easement across the northern portion of the plat.
No, I'm
Within my
following you.
motion, I'm going to put
I'm
that there
following you.
is a recorded easement for access to both of these people. So just in case there's ever any issues,
Yep.
it's part of their approval of this. Okay.
Yes, yeah, on the plat.
Sure, before you delete that,
Right.
And
So
those-
you-
Schumacher also.
what's to the left of that last lot, that one, what's the access to that?
That's the
Well,
guy
that's-
that out front.
It's the same guy out
But I
front.
mean, they are separate. We're just gonna have to really make sure if these guys ever subdivide their parcels, that they're providing access to these people in back of them.
Can't subdivide because you can't subdivide off an easement.
Got it.
There's a 70-foot easement that goes from this line south.
Okay. Do we have any idea if there's an easement here for this guy? I mean,
I-
this is
I would
not
ass-
the Sands concern, but
I would assume that there's a cross easement through there. When she split it, she probably gave easements.
probably is always a word that concerns me.
Well, I hope that when they bought the property, they
They did their due
confirmed that they had
diligence.
access.
But yeah,
It's because the plat, let's see.
They've owned that property a long time.
we've
There's
got a
a
bunch of them
30-foot
in there.
wide
that are-
access and utility easement across Butler's to Shoemaker.
Okay, perfect.
So this is Gantz, Butler, Shoemaker.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, just want to include that in the motion, just to make sure we're good. Doug, will you shut that off now?
Okay, are we good? This time I'd entertain a motion then for this final plat
Sorry.
and the development agreement.
Sherry had asked about the landscaping.
Oh, that's right.
Did you guys see enough in there to ensure that,
Yeah.
you know, you were,
Yeah.
I was asking the other commissioner?
Yes, they have landscaping requirements. We put it in the development agreement. That's one of the reasons we did the development agreement. Is to ensure that they're doing that.
Get my package to come up, what, and no one.
That's what you're needing here. This is a motion here.
Yeah, I was just looking,
Here's
did,
the development
did you
agreement.
think anything, the landscaping, when you were looking at it? There wasn't a lot of
Just-
call out, but
It should have been in.
I cannot get mine to open. Where in the world is it?
Good thing I have paper.
Ridiculous.
A ridiculous amount.
I get frustrated when our
Here's the
stuff.
landscaping
Okay,
plan,
I got it.
Commissioner.
So what kind of a buffer is there between the subdivision and 55?
There are trees, there's a swell, and there are some
A
trees.
swell
We are not
for,
requiring anybody to do a solid line of trees or berms that hide the buildings because the Planning and Zoning Commission would like to see the vistas and the views of the mountains. They don't want to see a line of trees.
I'm not asking for a line of trees, but I would like to see some landscaping. When you're saying a swale, is that their stormwater retention?
Parts of it, yeah, that's part of the plan.
Okay. So how many trees are we requiring?
1 per 25 feet. On here, they show 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 19 trees is what they're showing. But they're gonna group them, kind of like Idaho Water Sports did. It's gonna be an attractive landscaping plan. Kind of like what they did on the other side of the highway up there, that rustic, now it's the bakery.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
You know, just an attractive landscaping.
Okay.
So
Right.
not a big tall berm or anything like that.
No,
No,
not a site obscuring berm.
we don't need berms, but we do need landscaping that's gonna be maintained. Is it irrigated? Is it,
That's also the snow storage stormwater retention area. And so it will be irrigated most of the year through that, you know, runoff from the highway. And then before, they have to irrigate the landscaping.
Okay.
Until such time that the roots take. And then they can kind of let it be more natural vegetation. It's not gonna be manicured lawn.
don't need that either. We just
Um,
need some trees to do some kind of blockage.
Yes, they have an approved landscaping plan. And I believe it says that if it dies, they have to redo it.
My
That's
question to you
important.
is, it looks like it's all 3 lots can be converted to commercial.
Yes, they are all 3 commercial.
No, there's no requirement for us to have a deed besides an easement to 3 commercial areas,
They have shared access.
and it's a what, 70-foot?
They have a whole bunch of frontage. The whole plat is frontage, and they have,
They're all using 1 lane to access all 3.
and so they have easements going, and they're also gonna put some buildings in the back and have some housing.
Okay.
And they did have a neighborhood meeting. I don't know, Neil, if you were still on there.
Mm-mm.
So that's a 40-foot,
And the people in the back were fine.
that's a 20-foot.
What is that?
Is that the easement?
It's our access easement.
Ew.
Our meetings are
No.
gonna get kind of full. It's kind of fun seeing everybody running for office gonna be here. Wow. We might have some great conversations in the next couple months.
Surprised they don't have their sandwich boards on, you know?
The Idaho County easement.
That's illegal.
Oh, is that really?
You can't do that inside the courthouse.
Well, they have easement, they have
20-foot wide irrigation.
they have documents. This is, I believe, their access.
And bear with us. We don't get to see these until they get to the final plat. So therefore, we're looking at what the Planning and Zoning Commission actually put in here.
And have a little, does it show you how wide the easement is off the highway?
Here's, see, they have their landscaping coming in here. They have 2 access points
And they have a,
approved by Idaho Transportation Department. A frontage lane that
Okay,
goes
okay.
in front of each building, parking in front that's
so
100
they've
feet
worked
back.
with ITD to get those.
Uh-huh.
Those are all approved.
We wouldn't approve it without it.
Okay, that's what I was asking. Okay, so we need a motion and a second.
You wanna make that motion with your, that you added on the bottom of it?
I move to approve the final plat for Sands 55 subdivision, approve the development agreement, acknowledge the declaration of installation of utilities, acknowledge the master declaration of covenants, conditions, and restrictions, and reciprocal easement agreement for Sands 55 subdivision, acknowledge the wildland urban interface fire protection plan, acknowledge the shared access maintenance agreement, and authorize the chairman to sign the development agreement and the plat. We're also adding that there will be, I've lost the names. There will be recorded access for the neighbors to the west. What was the name of them?
Butler and
Shoemaker and Gantz.
Gans.
For the Shoemaker and Gans properties. This motion is made with the understanding that building permits will not be issued until McCall Fire approves the installation of the fire tank.
I'll second it.
Okay, we got a motion and a second to approve the development agreement and the Sand 55 subdivision final plat. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
I,
Aye, motion carries.
that's crazy.
Who is Ryan Montoya?
Hmm?
Ryan Montoya?
Lenny's here to represent him.
Okay, we're gonna have to scratch this out and have Lenny sign this then.
That's fine. Well, no.
We
He
can't
signed that.
notarize the document that,
It's notarized. Look at the next sheet.
thank you.
Good catch.
So we do not need,
But Robin's got to notarize ours.
but the problem is I can't have her notarize this document though. Because this signature is on the same page as the one for ELT. So she's notarizing that she saw Mr. Montoya sign this. That's not gonna work.
Well, keep going.
Yeah, I'm looking.
Okay.
I can't
That's
have her
fine.
notarize this document. Do you want to print off another one for ELT that just
And then-
has?
Yeah. And then take his signature off and we'll attach the back sheet to it. Can you do that? Sure. Well, no, because she doesn't have his name on this side.
Technically, whoever notarized that shouldn't have done it without his signature on that page. Doug's right, I couldn't do that either.
Sometimes they notarize pictures to me. It doesn't matter.
We'll just get the, well, it does.
Ryan up here to sign it. He's gonna have to come re-sign the development agreement.
Well, then let's not notarize that. And
Can't we
we-
just, I mean, how can you solve it on our end? So Elk can sign it,
We
so
will
we don't
just
have to do
need-
that.
What we'll need is just to have a signature page for ELT with the notary signature without the developer's name on it.
We can do that in a week or two, or Sherry can show
It's been
you.
approved, so therefore,
Yeah.
I mean, he can
Just
sign it at
redesign
any
the
time.
sign-up sheet. And I'll go ahead and sign the final plat.
I guess we don't need you anymore. Thank you.
Just the pen?
Sorry.
In my motion, did it state Butler as one of the names?
I have
Should've been-
Shoemaker and Gantz.
I'm going to amend that motion to include Butler, so we'll wait until Neil gets back.
Not yet, right?
Yeah, Gantz is not the name. They've got their own.
So you amended your motion to
I
include
guess we
Gantz?
can do it, both of us. We don't
Yeah.
need Neil.
I'll second your amendment.
So it
Add
will
Gantz
be-
to that list.
So Gantz comes off, it's David Butler and Dustin Schumacher.
If you're gonna create an easement like that, you might also say assigns and heirs, because it won't always be those people that own it.
Oh, that's true. Good point.
You got that, Doug?
To include heirs and
Well,
assigns
yeah, it's.
Yes, sir.
for the future.
Gantz, I don't think takes access off that road.
I took it off the.
Oh, you
motion.
took Gantz off.
Yes.
Okay, perfect.
I don't know.
We have an amendment to the
Butler
motion
and-
to take Gantz off and add Shoemaker and Butler.
We're not creating the easement, we're just ensuring that one is created.
Okay, we got a motion and a second to approve the amendment. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. Did you get that, Doug?
To include heirs and,
Assigns.
thank you.
You do that anytime.
Sure.
All right, we're gonna keep going. We're running a little bit behind, but Better to be behind than way out front and get ran over. Next agenda item is an action item. This is the Idaho Gem Grant, West Central Mountains Economic Development Committee application for regional housing needs assessment funding. And I believe this was for $35,000. Hey,
Good morning.
good morning.
I am not running for office.
Not yet.
Not yet. I guess.
Not yet,
Yeah, I
Lindsay,
shouldn't
not
preclude myself from the future. I am here today, and thank you so much for your time, commissioners, and good morning. Happy Monday. We had a shortfall where we were brought to our attention here in February that the City of McCall Local Option Tax grant that we'd been awarded for this fiscal year, their projections are down enough that they've said seek other funding that you're high likelihood of not being funded. So now we have a shortfall mid-project. So we didn't go for a GEM grant last year because we were trying to source financial opportunities and funding opportunities more locally before we went to the state for this. But after speaking with Department of Commerce staff who guide us and help us, and obviously we're part of the Rural ED Pro program, they felt like it was a viable application since there's obviously a need for it, and it's directly tied to workforce. But we need a county or city government to be the applicant for us. And since we already have the Rural ED Pro grant program with you all, which we're very thankful for you being the applicants on that, we thought it was a good fit to have the county apply on our behalf. I've done all the legwork. We have everything. It was a really busy week last week, but we got the application completed. The deadline is actually today. And I have been working with the wonderful Mackenzie on that and getting her what she would need to get in the queue to get that submitted. So if you have any questions, I think Doug did supply you with the final draft. But additional funding we actually are asking for, since the GEM grant, you can ask for up to $50,000. So in addition to the $20,000 shortfall, we're asking for an additional $15,000. That really is roundtable discussions that we realized in our most recent site visit, where we met with over 40 businesses and regional local governments. That there's a really big need for this regional discussion, kind of private-public partnership sector collaboration piece in the housing puzzle that we really feel has value. So an additional $15,000 that we'd ask for from this grant to do more implementation and facilitation, not just the assessment itself. So we're not just saying, here's the data, do what you want. Instead, it's what are some actual viable solutions that maybe are more applicable to our communities.
Lindsay, I appreciate that, because I know, if I'm remembering right, and there's a lot to remember in this job, that we already have the data. We already did the study. Now it's just how we gonna move from there. Is that correct?
So we don't have current regional data.
Didn't we just do this, what, 3 years
So
ago?
we're in process right now of doing it. So we started last year
We
for our
approved
regional housing needs.
20,000.
Pardon?
We approved 20,000 for this.
Yes, last year.
Yeah. just
So the
last year.
county chipped in, the Laura Moore Cunningham Foundation, Perpetua, Mountain Central Association of Realtors, and then we had the City of McCall Local Option Tax Grant Award as well. That was how we were able to get our full funding. But now that we have the local option tax shortage, we need to seek funding elsewhere. And then as a result of it being mid-project, we recognize that we need to do more than just the data, that these roundtable discussions that we are hosting and the communication collaboration piece is just as important as the data itself. So that's why we're asking for an additional $15,000 from Department of Commerce to help with that implementation and roundtable discussion. Does that make sense?
Mackenzie's already done the study, which you had
That's what I thought.
790 respondents.
Oh, yes, we did just
So-
That's what I
complete,
thought.
yes, we completed. So as part of the needs assessment, we did conduct a regional housing survey. Yes, that had almost 700 responses.
That was my question. I thought we already did this.
Oh, sorry.
We're moving
Yes.
to an implementation kind of part of the
They will
plan.
take that information now and create the strategies around it and further information. So they've already had their first meeting.
Yep, with the advisory
Monday?
group, which
Yeah.
consisted of all local governments. And then we hosted sector groups, realtors, developers, contractors, property managers, sectors affiliated with housing, so the private component and the public component, in conjunction with the survey results. And they're also conducting individual community profiles for housing.
So Lindsay, does this just encompass in Valley County? Is that what this, or is this larger?
We also included North Adams County, so Meadows Valley as well, is part of the region that we're looking at in
It's the
total,
West
which is,
Central Mountains.
yeah, which is the economic region that the West Central Mountains Economic Development Council serves. We recognize employment patterns and migration and that they're all fluid and connected. So we did include Meadows Valley.
So Doug, does this come out of what, general fund reserve?
No, we have a expense
How much,
line.
okay, how much we
We're
have?
at, no, she's not asking us for this. This is a GEM grant.
To Department of Commerce. So we're asking the
just-
state to fund this, but we're asking the county to be the
State to lead.
applicant.
Thank you.
And we have a
Yes.
specific grant line in economic development for grants and contributions that this would come out of. Once it's paid, we would request a reimbursement.
But it is not the county's funds, it is state funds.
State
And it's
funds.
part of a state program for basically grants that are related to workforce development.
Doug, we had to do this through resolution. Is that correct? We didn't get a resolution, so.
I do have, it's a template that I sent over, but it is an application resolution. So what commissioners would need to do is just say, you support and encourage appropriate efforts within the community that promote economic development of the community and economic well-being of its citizenry. Basically that you're signing on as the applicant for.
Can you bring that up?
Yes, sir.
Lindsay? Thanks. 2407, is that the number? Kinsey, is there anything you want to add to this? Are you in, no? Okay.
Mr. Chairman, are you ready for a motion?
Yeah, and you could do the resolution at the same time.
Okay, Mr. Chairman, I would move that we approve the request for an application for the Regional Housing Needs Assessment Funding, approval of resolution 2024-07. Say that twice.
Second.
Okay, we got a motion and a second to approve the application and the resolution. All in favor, please say aye.
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 Aye, motion carries.
Ms. Harris, I did not print off the actual application. Do you have that?
I have it, it says draft on it, but this is the final version.
You want me to
Here you go.
print off the one that you sent? The
The
last
That's
one?
last, yes, that I said was the final. We haven't made any
Shouldn't that
changes
be
since
on
then.
letterhead?
Yeah.
So this has got to be on county letterhead too.
Thanks again.
Perfect.
There we go.
You're the bomb.
Yeah, and I'll tell you what, there's some people
Bensie's
on
already
A game today.
You're too good, Kenzie.
This is why I love
You're too
her.
good.
We love her too.
Oh my gosh.
I have it on good word. Her husband loves her too.
That's critical.
Oh, let's see.
And I will work with Mackenzie on that. She has the original file. So
So do you want to give this to her so she can get it on county letterhead too?
no. Let's just, I'm gonna burn that. You want me to discard it?
Well, I think we need a resolution number
We
on
need
there.
those.
Oh, is that letterhead this document or is it different?
Yeah, I filled it in, but it doesn't say resolution 20.
Ah,
Jim, if you want to just write on top of that. or-
Yeah. Resolution 2024-07.
thank you, everybody, for your collective efforts on that.
Thank you.
Thanks,
It's gonna be a
everybody.
good
Fingers
thing.
crossed. We'll keep you posted, or you'll know because it's in your portal. Thank you so much.
Alrighty.
And we'll see you all day today.
Okay, our next agenda item is also an action item. This is a discussion decision on the Cinnabar Mine Superfund site letter. As some of us may remember, and some of us not know, we were approached by EPA here in May of last year, if the county wanted to declare Cinnabar Mine a Superfund site. And at that time, we said, no, we weren't interested in doing that. This letter is basically that official letter stating our position. Since then, I've been contacted by the governor and he was against it too, and he really appreciated us being against it as well. So this letter is just an affirmation of that decision. So we've kind of, oh, has everybody seen the letter? We probably need a motion in the minutes to make sure we document it, but have you guys seen the letter?
Mhm.
I wrote the letter, so.
Yep.
You wrote
I read
And
it.
actually, there are two of them. One's going to Administrator Reagan, and then the other one is Casey Sixkiller.
Okay,
And basically, this is stating that the reason for this letter is the EPA, when they were here, they told us there would be much more communication and conversation before they declared this. And instead, they went directly around us and went ahead and it is trying to declare. So we are questioning the way that this was done, as well as the fact that we don't agree with the terms after they have presented what they were hopeful to do and close some roads and do further work back there than what had ever been discussed. So they bypassed the procedure for them to be able to even do this. So we're calling them on their procedure.
I can forward them to you.
That would be great, and then we can put it on.
Is there anything in there that says, in your letter that says that, we do not support this in any way, shape, fashion, or form? Is there any statement like that in there?
I sent them to you. Did you read
I was
that?
trying to find it and I couldn't find it.
Okay.
I know I've already
Um,
read it one time. But it's not in our packet.
So I'll read you the one. I'll read them to you. I did put in this, Valley County is not in favor of declaring the Cinnabar mine a Superfund site. This will be a significant impact on our economy as we are a recreation community. Please discontinue any efforts to include our county in any efforts for further restoration.
I knew I'd read it, but just,
But I also stated on it that the presentation, well, do you want me to read it?
no,
For the record?
that's fine. I mean, if you want to, go ahead.
We'd questioned the fact that there was questions about why this was even needed, as the stream bed had already been tiled from previous restoration work. We were concerned that if they disturbed the tailings further, it might create further damage. There was no answers provided to that. We're told that further conversations would ensue.
And they didn't.
And they didn't. They just basically went right around us. And I basically did the same letter to both of these individuals, so.
Okay, we, as I say, I need a motion to make sure we get it in the records that we approve these letters.
Mr. Chairman, I would move that we approve the two letters that were written.
Second?
I moved and second to approve the written documentation to two different EPA and what's the other one?
It goes to the EPA.
And the regional administrator of Region 10 on our decision not to support the Cinnabar Mine Superfund site designation. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. Before we move on, we got a few minutes. Any of you future candidates have any questions you need to ask or a question or concern, please feel free to raise your hand so we can kind of figure out what's going on here. One of you guys will be sitting up here for long. Okay, our next agenda item then is not till 11, and that is a discussion with ITD, so we're going to go mute. And we'll see everybody back here in 10 minutes.